Hi everybody. I wanted to do a different kind of video for you today. My kid, Sam, who is now 22, and I recently went to a concert film of the K-pop idol, Yoongi, and that is his birth name, and then his stage name is Ogdi or Suga. And he is part of the mega group BTS out of South Korea. And he did a concert tour before he needed to go to the military, because all men in South Korea need to do a tour in the military. It was super exciting, and it was really different than any other K-pop concert I'd ever seen before. It didn't feel like K-pop at all. It was raw, it was dark, it was awesome. It was so good. One of the things I really noticed was, so he's not a really big guy. I think he's 5'9", maybe something like that. He's on stage, right? And he's like this. So his fingers are like this, and he's like this so much of the time. Like he's just out there, and I was like, look at him. Look at his antenna. So he is a single person. He had dancers and he had a live band and all that, but he's like a single guy, and he's 30,000 people, right? And he's there, and I'm like, look at his antenna, look at what he's doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to go see what his human design is, because we have done a little bit of running down the rabbit hole to see what different idols human design are. And if you like this video, you should let me know. I'll do some more of those about different K-pop artists who we love. We go home and I run his chart. Unusually, we actually had his birth time. It's public knowledge, which is not typical. And he's a reflector. The reflectors are the rarest of all human design types. They have no definition in their channels or their centers. So when you look at their chart, and you can see here in his, it's mostly white. Of course, there are gates that are defined, but there aren't any centers that are defined, and there aren't any channels. Now, a lot of times people think of reflectors as being really weak people who have to kind of be hidden away because they're so susceptible to all of other people's energies because they're so open. But as I've been talking about in the deconditioning and conditioning series that I've been doing, I've been saying your openness can be your power. It can be your wisdom. And so I looked at this here's Yoongi, right? He's out there. He's a friggin' reflector. He's taking in and amplifying the energy of 20,000 people, 25,000 people, right? And he's sending it back out to them, right? His antenna. So he's both bringing in from the creative intelligence of the universe, from the cosmic energy, from the neutrino stream, right, that we're all constantly being bombarded by, right? So he's taking that in, but he's also taking in and amplifying the energy of all the people in that room. And I've heard him talk before in different interviews and just conversation with other members and other K-pop idols, where they're like, yeah, there's nothing like being on stage. There's nothing like being on stage, and how hooked they get for that. And, on the one hand, you could understand that for anybody of any type, right? Because if you love doing that, it could be great, because there you are, you're receiving all this attention and you're amplifying whatever your openness is and you're sending it out, and it just can feel great. Like, wow, so much energy. But for a reflector, right, he's taking it in through his entire energy system and amplifying it and then sending it back out. And Min Yoongi is anything but a weak person. He is so deep. He is so wise. I was first introduced to BTS around January of 2019. So this is right before the pandemic. This is right when On came out, and Black Swan. Black Swan is the really the video that got me into BTS. And then On, once I had seen Black Swan, I was like, oh my God, who are these guys? And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And part of what came out of that initial response to the pandemic was there was a video that was created for the graduating class of 2020, because for them, they didn't get to go, and walk across the stage and get their diploma and do all that thing. I mean, a few people did, but a lot of places people did not get to do that. So I know the Obamas and a variety of other people put together this celebration for the graduating class of 2020, and BTS was there. So I didn't know who they were, not really. Like, I didn't know who the individuals were. I didn't know their personalities or anything like that. I had just seen their music videos and heard their music. And but I remember very distinctly going around listening to each one of the members say, a blessing, a prayer, an affirmation, some piece of advice for the graduating class. And I remember when it came to Yoongi and what he shared, I turned to my kid and I'm like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? That guy is so wise. Like, he went from, there was a lot of surface level comments, like you might imagine, like, do well in your life and always lead from your heart and, things like that, right? And Yoongi came in with a completely different, like, this is how you live your life. It was really like that. And I remember just going, wow, who is that guy? And it turns out he's a reflector.